All right. What is up, everyone? Super excited for today's video. In today's video, we're going to bring you guys the newest addition to the investment intelligence community, which is the Zone Finder. Okay. Now, there are Zone Finder longs and there's Zone Finder shorts. So it doesn't matter if you're a perma bear or a perma bull, the Zone Finder will find you high quality, high risk to reward setups time and time again in the Zone Finder longs, okay, or the Zone Finder shorts, right? Now, so this is what the list will look like, okay? I'm going to put these out about once a week, maybe multiple times a week, to all the members in the Discord. But what's really amazing, all right, is you get access to the scan and the chart layout and indicators that I use for the Zone Finder as a member to the Discord, okay? So to do so, what you simply do is you would come in here and you would highlight this. Okay, so you come in here or right click this, hit copy link, and then what you want to do is come on over to your Thinkorswim platform. All right, so let me go ahead and minimize this real quick. And you want to come to the scan tab. Okay. Well, actually, you don't even have to go there. All right. So what you'll do to open the shared item. All right. Once you've copied and pasted that, what you're going to do is you're going to come in here and you're going to click on open shared item. You paste it in, you hit preview. Okay. And it's going to say Zone Finder longs. Right. So this is the Zone Finder specifically targeting long trade ideas. Okay, and then you'll come in here, you'll click on import. All right. Here we go. And then we're gonna, essentially I already have one of these, so it's gonna override it. And it'll pull this page up here. This will take you to the Zone Finder. You can then hit scan. But what's really amazing about this is you can simply come in here and hit save scan query, right? And then you can save it as, the Zone Finder. You can save it as Moneymaker, whatever it is that you want to save it, right? And then it'll be there available for you guys to load at any single time that you ever want to, okay? So that's the Zone Finder. It'll pull up the list. What I do is I sort them by the RSI, okay? Being that we're looking for longs, I'm only interested in stocks with an RSI above 50. Okay. So I sort them by the RSI and the Zone Finder longs. I'm interested in all of the stocks above 50. Now, if you want to go through every single individual name here, you can do that. Go right ahead. There's still going to be a high quality risk reward setup in that. But I particularly like to focus on stocks that have an RSI of above 50. All right. Now, this will, again, bring you to the chart layout or bring you to the scan here. So I'm going to go back to my main Thinkorswim page right now. Or let's actually go back into the Discord, right? And let's pull up the study set, right? So we'll right click this, we'll hit copy link. We're going to come here again to open shared item, okay? On setup, open shared item. We're going to paste this in. We're going to hit preview, okay? And then now we're going to go ahead and click import. Now, this is what the Zone Finder long default page will take you to. It's going to show you a demand zone, right, and a supply zone, okay? You also have this level here and this level here. This is a risk on entry for longs. If if you want to be extra risky or have a risk on more aggressive approach, you can enter at the risk on level, or you can look to catch an entry in the demand zone, right? For the longs, your stop loss is going to be below the demand zone. For the shorts, your stop loss is going to be, above the supply zone. Now, it's a very simple chart layout that comes with it. So you'll have it there. What you're going to want to do is hit save flexible grid, and then you can save it as the Zone Finder, save it as whatever it is that you want, and it will be easily accessible for you, right? For instance, if we go to my Thinkorswim, I have the Zone Finder flexible grid right here. Okay. And let's take a look at some of the results that are in there. So let me go ahead and load up the Zone Finder really quick here. And we'll hop right in and show you guys, what it is that we're looking at and looking for. Now, I do want to mention, okay, that the Zone Finder is brand new. It's something I've been working on for a while. All right, and in the Discord, I'll actually be posting the different chart setups for all of the Zone Finder stocks that appear in the scan. But I do have a completely free newsletter, okay? The Investment Intelligence newsletter. You can take a look at that real quick. And the very first trade, right? The top list, the top name on the Zone Finders, the official publication and release of the Zone Finders was BMY, Bristol Myers. Okay. So we went over the trade idea for Bristol Myers in the newsletter, highlighted what it was that we were looking for. It was a really amazing trade. The Zone Finder, if you take a look here, over 200% on the weekly call options, and over 70% on the next month OPEX option expiration date. So a really amazing trade. First results. I'm recording this on a Tuesday. The Zone Finder was released to all of the Discord members on Sunday. We put out the newsletter on Sunday highlighting BMY. Let's go ahead and take a look at BMY. Bristol Myers, right? That was our first Zone Finder trade. That was a really amazing trade here. So we'll go ahead and pull up BMY real quick. And as you can see, we had that falling wedge here. Okay. We had the Zone Finder in our zone. We were able to get an entry in that zone. And this is specifically meant to give you short-term trades. Okay. The Zone Finder is for stocks that are ready to trade that day for a day trade and potentially even a swing trade, right? Some of these stocks are going to move extremely quick and you'll be able to make enough gains, perhaps on a day trade. Sometimes it'll even hit the profit zone on a day trade. But, you can also short-term swing trade these, right? So the Zone Finder is filtered to find stocks that have weekly options. This is important because stocks that have weekly expiration dates on their option chain, they tend to be more liquid. So even if you're not an options trader, these stocks generally will have high liquidity for larger orders. And what's nice about the stocks that have weekly options expiration is that the options market for those stocks is also tends to be more liquid. So these are stocks where you're seeing in one single day, getting over 200% gains on the weekly option expirations, right? Bought the options on the 11th. Today's now the 12th. And as you saw, those weekly options went up hundreds of percent. So, that's what I really love about this is that not only does it give you actionable trade ideas, right, that are ready, almost essentially immediately, but then you can come in there, take action on those. And if you're an aggressive trader, right, and you want to be an aggressive options trader, you can essentially find weekly options or monthly options that can yield, some really nice returns. Now, the way I like to do this is I like to not only use that stop loss level, okay, as my risk management, but also, I like to size these positions to where if it was to fall 50% or even go to zero, I'm going to be okay with that, right? Because the Zone Finder is looking for stocks that can potentially make 100% or more. Okay. So if you're willing to risk all of your position to double your position, that right there is already a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio. Okay. Now, it does come with an anchored VWAP study. You are going to have to change this anchored VWAP for each individual chart, because each individual chart is going to be different. In this case, I would throw an anchored VWAP at the high right here for BMY, for Bristol Myers. Right. So I would need to come in here and change this anchored VWAP to a different date, and see what this anchored VWAP is looking like. Okay. That's not far back enough yet. Let me rewind this thing a little bit more. We'll go 0728. Let's see. Let's see if that works for our anchor VWAP. Where does that put us? Boom. Perfect. That puts us right here at the top. Okay. So now we have our anchored VWAP anchored up to the high. The anchored VWAP is extremely important. It's one of the best tools and resources. Thinkorswim does not have it by default, but with the Zone Finder, you also get the anchored VWAP indicator. Okay. And you can throw as many anchored VWAPs on there as you want. I like to anchor them to the highs. I like to anchor them to important lows. But above an anchored VWAP, you're bullish. Below an anchored VWAP, you're bearish. And it really helps to act as a guide. For me, in this case, since those options have, doubled twice, right? They went up 200%. I'm going to be using this anchored VWAP as a little bit of a trailing stop loss, right? So if we were to start trading below and closing below this anchored VWAP, then I'll go ahead and exit that position. But let's go ahead and take a look at some names, right? This is one that's already fired and you know, has already done really, really well. You know, let's take a look and you know, check out something like hold on, let me sort these RSI real quick. So we want to look at the strength. We have so the lowest one here is CL, right? That has the lowest RSI above 50. Let's check out CL real quick. Okay, so we'll come in here, we'll type in CL. Now, again, being that we're looking for short-term, you know, trades and trade ideas for this and you know, trades that we can day trade to potentially short-term swing trade, looking for high returns in a very short amount of time, this focuses on a 1 hour time frame. So that's going to be your default setup and your default time frame for you know, this tool resource that we're looking at here. So CL, right? I mentioned I like to put the anchored VWAP to the highs. Okay, so we have here the time on this one is 9:30 at this candlestick. We need to move this forward a little bit. So let's go ahead and put 08. Let's do the 08. Let's do 0808 and see if that is the date for this one. Let's see here. All right, and no, a little bit too close. All right, so we're going to take this down. Let's do maybe 06. Let's see what that is. Not quite there. All right, so now we've got our VWAP anchored to the highs. We know that this is a very important level. Let's just do some basic technical analysis in here, right? And let's draw a trend line down. Okay, so we'll be looking to see if we can potentially get this trend line to break. You know, to me, this looks like this is a really nice setup. Okay, here's what I like about this one, right? And you'll be able to get all of my analysis in the Discord for every single stock that I post whenever I post the Zone Finder list. But we have a breakaway gap right here. All right, this is a very good sign. This is a strong sign right here. And the reason that this is a strong sign is because, you know, not only did we gap up here, but we didn't give that gap back, right? We actually did a really good job of maintaining the lows of that gap and holding that and building a little bit of a demand zone here, as you can see. Now, currently what's forming is one of my favorite chart patterns known as the plumber's pivot. Okay. So here's really, it couldn't be a more textbook example of a plumber's pivot, right? Where you have this top, right? This false top, and bears are going to be looking, you know, for a flush to the downside, potentially even for this gap fill down here. And so they come in here and they see this top, right? They see this topping pattern forming, this rounded top. They're looking for the flush to the downside. The reason it's called the plumber's pivot is because the flush never comes. So all of the shorts that we're aggressively shorting here in this area, price is now trading above this demand zone. And you see, you know, we have this little 1-2 setup right here, right? 1-2 pullback. And the bears get squeezed out at this time because we don't flush through the lows. We don't break through support. And the plumber's pivot often results in a very fast move to the upside, right? Because you have this false top. Bears are getting over aggressive, looking for the break of support. The break of support never happens. They get margin called, aka that's the plumber calling, you know, hey, I can't get a flush, can't get the flush, right? Bears are looking for a flush to the downside. Never happens. And then you get an explosive move to the upside. So if you guys don't know about the plumber's pivot pattern, you definitely want to Google that, look that up. It's an amazing pattern. Now, what do we have right here? Looks to me like we almost have a plumber's pivot again, right? We've got another rounded top forming here, right? If we were to just simply extend this zone that we have over here to the right, we can see that this is a valid demand zone, right? We have demand in this area where we've bounced multiple times. If bears don't get the flush that they're looking for to potentially this previous demand zone right here, you know, a break of support to retest this demand, it's very possible that they could get squeezed out and, you know, essentially, you know, trigger the plumber's pivot pattern. Okay. So for this one, you know, that's what I'm looking at right now, right? Is we have this, you know, potential top forming here, but we know that we're in a demand zone. And again, these trades offer high risk to reward setups. So, the top of demand here is at 157. Your stop loss on this trade would be 99.87. So below there, you get stopped out of the play. And then you're targeting these three levels to the upside, right? So this is your risk on entry. So if you don't want to be a perfect trader and you want to be a little bit more risk on, you can look to enter longs, below 101.35. 101.35, you can have an aggressive risk on position looking to catch the upside targets. But obviously with a more aggressive and more risk on approach, obviously there's going to be higher risks. Now, another thing that you could do that I like to do is I like to chart up my Fibonacci levels. So I'll just come up in here, throw some fibs on, and look at that. The first price target here lines up beautifully with a 61.8% retracement level. So this is a great one, right? And this is stuff that you no longer have to do, right? Do you struggle with finding trade ideas, right? Do you struggle with knowing where's support, where's demand, where is your supply zone, where is resistance, right? This does all of the hard work for you. It literally does it all for you. It scans it all for you. So this one looks really good in my opinion, right? We've got the breakaway gap, so we know momentum is bullish. Bears weren't able to come down and close the gap. We've got a very tight risk here of about 70 points or 70 cents. Looking to make $2, $3, and $4, right? So we're risking, a little bit less than $1 to make $2, to make $3, or to make $4. So that right there, those are high quality trade setups. And not every single trade in the zone finder is going to work, obviously, right? There's going to be times where you break support, you break demand, and you get stopped out of the play. That's fine. And you can afford to do that, especially when you're trading high quality setups, right? Where you have a 2-to-1, 3-to-1, 4-to-1 risk reward ratio. And this is why I love it so much. So I think you guys will really enjoy it as well. If you don't want to join the Discord, you can purchase the zone finder with the scan and the study set. You can purchase that separately. But the best bargain really was just to join the Discord. So that way you can get it, and you just have to pay the monthly fee. The monthly fee is going to be much cheaper than purchasing this on its own separately. But don't forget, I also have that free newsletter for you guys. Okay, so that pretty much wraps up today's video. Goes over a tutorial of how to use it, the zone finder. If you want to sign up for the newsletter, there's a link in the description. You can check out the Investment Intelligence newsletter. I put out free, valuable finance and trading related content every single week in there. I also try to post some trade ideas inside of there as well. So you can go back and scroll through the website, check out some of the previous trade ideas. A lot of them have been really, really good. So I just wanted to bring this stuff to you guys' attention. All right. Click the link in the description to join the Discord. Click the link in the description to sign up for the newsletter, or click the link in the description to purchase the zone finder separately. Really happy that you guys joined me in today's video. As always, today's video is for informational and educational purposes only. It's not intended to be relied upon as legal, financial, or investment advice. With that being said, I will see you all in the next one.